Welcome into the PHNX Daily Bet Show, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave that 5-star review. I'm Shane Dieffenbach, joined as always by Johnny Venerable. The day after the national championship, got a little natty hangover going. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing well, Shane. Oh, I heard you were at the game. I didn't get the invite from mom and dad, so maybe next year put in a good word for your boy. How was your experience at old Indianapolis? Gorgeous this time of year.
Dude,
Gorgeous.
It was so damn cold. We did a lot of things. One of which was tour the Indianapolis 500 track up in Speedway, and it was great. Aside from the fact that it was fucking freezing, my God. So yeah, that. Other than that, it was really fun. The atmosphere, Lucas Oil was cool. The acoustics in Lucas Oil, I think it's a little too big. Because the crowd didn't seem as loud as it has been, even for a college football game. It was a little strange. So Lucas Oil, big stadium, not fantastic noise. I think it's really something to be said about like architecture of stadiums, because Seattle's is loud because of the architecture. The Cardinals keeps noise in really well. It's just a little strange. I don't know. It's something to think about, but go for it.
It's not as loud as the RCA Dome. I've been to both. I've been to the RCA Dome more before I think, demolished it. Mm-hmm. That's where Lucas Oil is the stadium that Peyton built, but ironically, they did their damage in the RCA Dome, and you could not hear. And they had those bookend pass rushers with Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's fine. It kind of represents like the Colts brand now. It's like 500 team, just fine. It's just fine. And I did not like the aesthetics of that game in Indianapolis. We were talking about it off air. Like it belongs in the South, on the West Coast, where you can get the environment going. And then they had like some music acts going on. People were like freezing. I'm like, let's not do this, guys. Come on now.
Yeah, a lot of good food. The worst part though was I was spoiled when I went to the Natty in New Orleans, because I bet on LSU because Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. That team was just so fun, and I had a lot of fun watching that live. This game, I bet on Nick Saban and I'm fine with losing because I would not be able to take a loss if I lost betting against Nick Saban.
Correct.
But yeah, that was the only bad part. But good part was the post-game interview I saw this morning of Nick Saban talking about his players. Did you get a chance to see that?
I did, yeah. It's super. It's almost like Nick's turning a corner a little bit, and
he's always been a people's guy. I mean, like, he's a hard ass to the media and all that, but he's always like, he's a good coach.
He's trying to Jones his way back to the NFL. He's going to go back to Miami, where it all started, upwards of 10 plus years ago. He and Stephen Ross, wouldn't that be great? Saban going back to Miami, having his old quarterback in Tua. Let's see. I feel like I'm breaking something. Nobody's talking about it. Here's what else people aren't talking about, Shane. So you were off the show yesterday, Mike, Luke, and I holding down the fort. Mike had a tough day. I actually went 2 for 2 on my national championship bets. I don't know if you knew this or not. Natty predictions. There's me, of course. That looks just like me. Georgia, I had -2. And then, of course, I had the under. So, my hot streak, I'm hoping are going to continue today into.
My YouTube app must have been glitching. Can you throw Mike's picks then? I'm a little confused.
Yeah, let's see Mike's picks. Jacob, if you've got them.
Oh, those are Mike's picks.
Those are me. No,
let's see Johnny's picks then. Big stinker. Bama to win by 13 over. Johnny, I don't blame you for those picks at all. The thing that was different, we'll talk about this game for a little bit before we get into the S lines. I think the biggest thing that was different in this game than the SEC championship is Alabama's offensive line was not able to dominate the Georgia D-line like they were in the SEC championship. The big guys were getting pushed around. There was not as clean as a pocket as it needed to be for Bryce Young. They couldn't really get the run game going, and the red zone defense was just incredible. I think the offensive line was the biggest factor in this game, or the defensive line for that matter. For Georgia.
It was the injuries to receiver and the skill players for Alabama that has been greatly watered down. Bryce Young was putting balls on the money. He had multiple big-time throws, NFL throws that will make him a top pick next year, seemingly dropped. And I get it. I think we all fall into this trap of like, a guy is a 5-star recruit, so his transition will be seamless to the national championship game. But the majority of those receivers last night, when you lose your top 2 receivers, both of which are presumed to be first-round draft picks, maybe top 20 draft picks, you can't replicate that. And so they became one-dimensional when they had trouble throwing the football, and then Auburn was able to stack the box. I think
Georgia.
if Bama has I think if Bama has one of their 2-star receivers, they win that game. Their margin for error just was so slim. And so if I'm Nick Saban, I think this championship has a big asterisk next to it because they couldn't stay healthy enough. Yeah, that's my opinion. Because the Stenson thing, and I put this out on Twitter and people were ripping me for it. Like, I did not think he was very good. He had a gross fumble that led to Bama points. He was missing throws in the first half. I think
he wasn't good for the majority of the game, but after the fumble,
he wasn't.
After the fumble, he was 4 for 4 for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that throw on the free play was right on the money. A great catch, but an incredible throw.
Oh, he came back to it. He didn't hit him in stride. It's fine. The guy's 5'11", awesome. He and I are the same height, by the way. Stetson to me, I think. Not. Again, people are trying to old takes expose me on Twitter last night, like because I put out a tweet. I'm like, okay, most predictable thing Stetson will be terrible, and now he's on Good Morning America this morning. Everybody loves him.
I'm not saying he was a world beater. I'm not saying he was great, but he wasn't bad. He was fine.
He was fine. Whatever.
Yeah. The Jamison Williams injury. I mean, I hope he's
changed the game. Changed the whole game.
Well, the thing that confused me a little bit is when on the replay, you almost saw it pop, but then I saw him walk out of the tunnel and walking under his own power. So I wonder what the injury is, if anything came out.
You can walk on an ACL. Now, I don't think they'd let him pending a top draft pick in April. Because Tyrann Mathieu famously tore his ACL in Philadelphia in 2015 and walked on it. Everybody's like, he's fine. Nope, he blew out his knee. So I think it probably is a significant strain, hopefully for him, and he'll be able to rehab and come back for the NFL season. But yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah. Overall, I thought people were complaining on Twitter. This is the last thing I'll say about the game before we get into guest line. People were complaining on Twitter about the first 3 quarters, basically, of the game. And I can get that if you're not like a huge football nut about scheming and whatever. But even in a defensive battle, sometimes it's really entertaining, and this is one of those. I mean, there was so much passion on the defensive end for both teams. It was so interesting and so fun to watch. I'm sure it was even more fun to watch on TV when you're able to see exactly what the defensive fronts and everything was in. The scheming in this game, defensive-wise, was genius. The red zone defense was great. I had a really fun time watching that first half, even though there was only 15, 12 points put up in that first half. I thought it was really fun.
Football purists like myself and you can appreciate good defense. We don't need 40 to 35 point totals. And good game, not great, compromise, but we move on.
All right. Well, we will, before we get into the guest of the lines, guys, you guys can still bet on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, even after a big loss.
Wow, really?
Like I had last night. The NFL playoffs are here, baby. And DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official betting partner of the NFL, is kicking things off with a huge offer. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, new customers can get 56-1 odds on any wild card team to win their game. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team is victorious. That is one of the best offers I've seen on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and there have been a lot of good ones. All customers can also get in on the DraftKings Hammer the Over promotion because, we all love betting the over. Hammer the Over has hit 0 every time DraftKings has run it, so bettors won when the first point is scored. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use that promo code PHNX when you sign up. You get 56-1 odds on any NFL team by betting just $5 in the wild card to win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code PHNX this wild card weekend at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. It's 21 plus, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for more details. We'll bring in producer Jacob Franklin now to do some Guess the Lines, baby.
Hi, Jacob.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good.
You guys had some spirited conversation. Johnny, don't be a liar. That's all I gotta say.
Never lied a day in my life, but please continue.
Well,
if he said his Wi-Fi was good, then maybe not. He'd still be lying.
Well, look, it's okay, Johnny, because I was the one that was elite this week, and I have been in the past 7 for 7, and we didn't even show his NFL picks. I don't even want to do that to him, but they weren't great. So without further ado,
not great.
Let's get into some Guess the Lines.
I was afraid you weren't going to call for the graphic.
What?
I said I was afraid you weren't going to call for the graphic.
Oh,
there.
I always need that up.
That graphic just injected into my veins. That's all I'm going to say.
Fantastic.
Let's start with Raiders at Bengals.
So let's do this, Johnny. Before we get into our picks, or our guess, what do you think is going to happen in this game? Let's do this for every game. What do you see happening?
I see the Raiders and their Cinderella run coming to an end, because I think as much as I would bet against the Bengals as a playoff team each and every year, especially in Dalton's heyday. They haven't won a playoff game since, I think, the early 90s. That's a thing, right? They're like in double digits in the playoffs since their heyday in the late 80s, early 90s. Joe Burrow is the magic elixir for this team. He's got time to rest. They're stacked offensively. Raiders are a great story, have no business being here. I would give the interim coach the full-time gig next year. I think Cincinnati is going to put up probably 30 to 40 points in a game that maybe it's competitive in the first half, but I think Cincinnati right now, and we saw a couple weeks ago, is the only team in the AFC that can hang with Kansas City. I'm not buying Buffalo, certainly not buying some of these other teams like New England that are limited offensively. You got to win in this league by throwing the football. They have, I think, the best receiving core right now in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I'm buying the stock that everyone's putting out on the Bengals being that sleeper team that can really make a run. So for this, I'm going to say Bengals -6.5, -7. I'm going to go 7.
I don't think it's quite that high because I think people have respect for what the Raiders are doing, but it is. I mean, they played an emotional game Sunday to get into the playoffs. I don't know how you come back off that high. I'll go Cincinnati -4.5.
One of the non-benefits of working from home is I don't have anything to ding or to
you have to make the noise.
Neither of you are right. It's Bengals -5.5.
5.5.
You split it.
Close.
You split it.
Very close. I was closer.
All right, we'll move on. Patriots at Bills in probably the coldest game of the week.
So third matchup, two very different games when they played in the regular season. Bills, I mean, Josh Allen put up one of the best passing performances I've seen this year in that game. Not even numbers wise, just some of the throws he was making. I'm excited for this one. You said the game is in Buffalo?
It is in Buffalo.
Yeah, they won the division.
That's right.
Posted a really weird TikTok about it. It was quite funny.
I love their TikTok account. What do you think is going to happen in this game, Johnny?
I am rolling with Bill Belichick and Mac Jones. I don't think Josh Allen's been right all year. They beat the Jets in Week 18, but before that, he had a really bad outing, multiple interceptions, thrown a lot of picks this year. I think they do just enough in the postseason, and this just reigns true in the history of the NFL. You have to be able to run the football to some degree to be effective. The Buffalo has no running game, and New England is desperate to run the football almost to a fault. So while I think Buffalo is favored, I'm going to go Buffalo -3.5.
Damn it, that's what I was going to say.
I'm going to go with New England to pull off the upset. If you were to ask me, I would take New England, the points, the money line. Give it to me. Give me Bill Belichick over Sean McDermott.
Yeah, I think it's just going to come down to one of those games. I think both teams are pretty well coached, but yes, Belichick has the edge there. But when you're looking at the quarterback battle, I think Josh Allen's going to pull off one of his best performances in this game. So I'm going to take the Bills in this. I think the Bills are, 3.5 sounds right. Get the 3 points for at home. I think they're about a half point better in the eyes of the odds maker. So I'm going to go Buffalo -4.
Ding, ding, ding. It is Buffalo -3.5.
Yeah.
If you guys want a tiebreaker on that, I'll let you do the over-under.
No, Johnny can get it because he guessed first.
I got it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, we're moving on. Eagles at Bucks.
So this game, I have some thoughts about.
I love it so much.
I think the Eagles can do something special here. I really do.
I do too.
Especially if Gardner Minshew is starting. No, genuinely, I really do like what the Eagles have been doing. They're playing the most inspired football, I think, in the NFC right now. Not the best football, but the most inspired for sure. I don't think that the odds makers think that. But what do you think, Johnny?
So I put out a little snippet on twitter.com today. If all the road teams win this weekend, Cardinals get a home game next week, which would be good for our business. And that has to start and end with Philadelphia upsetting Tampa. I think it could happen. I'm not going to, of course, not going to pick it to happen. I do think that they'll cover what I believe is going to be a lofty spread of, let's go Tampa Bay I'll go -9.
Yeah, that sounds right. I'm going to go Tampa -9.5.
Ding, ding, ding. It is Tampa -8.5. Johnny, up 2. Are we moving on?
The playoffs separate the men from the boys in many different facets. And
hey, Johnny, how many of these have you lost?
I lost last week in the fraud week 18.
He lost a couple times. Johnny definitely has won 75% of these, but he also isn't undefeated. So, and that's something.
Well, yeah, I'm not undefeated.
You've said that before.
I don't remember that. All right, Jacob, next line.
49ers at Cowboys.
Ooh, I'm stoked for this one.
Okay, so this is everybody's trendy upset of the week, and
yeah,
so it makes me want to go the other way because the Cowboys, they're 6-5 outside in the NFC East. They're undefeated in the NFC East. They got to play that stupid Saturday night game that they flexed into primetime. Nobody played for Philadelphia, and Dak had like 5 touchdowns, and you got Skip Bayless tweeting, they're back, they're going to win the NFC, and it's like, no. I do think they win this game because I do think we've seen the best of Jimmy G. A little bit like Philadelphia, or excuse me, like the Raiders. The Niners coming off that high of last week. Like, I don't know how you replicate that. And I do think the receiving core for Dallas will give them problems because you can throw on San Francisco. I will go Dallas -3.5.
Yeah.
We know Vegas loves the Niners.
They love them. The secondary is just too depleted and just not very good. They have been developing more quarterback pressures lately. Their pass rush is getting home, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. Deebo Samuel has to have a generational game, I think, to win this.
We just had one, so we'll see if he can do it again.
And Ayuk needs to step up as well.
It's the game. It's the game of the weekend for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go Dallas -5.5.
Dallas -3.
See, the Vegas wants people to go with San Francisco, and then they will collect. Everybody loves the Niners right now. I would say, I do think San Francisco has a puncher's chance. Dak Prescott at home against Jimmy G. Give me Dak Prescott.
Well, let me tell you this. Yeah, Johnny has gone 3 times in a row, but I'm just letting him talk. He needs this today. He was very sad before the broadcast. He needs a little pick me up. His ring light broke.
It did. Look at this piece of crap. I just had to order a new one.
No, let me ask you this though. The odds makers are basically saying that this game is even. These teams are even because they're giving 3 points to the home team. Do you agree with that?
Correct. I would say these teams are even because the Niners I think everybody just has waited all season for this Niner team to show up. This is the team that Vegas thought before the year was the favorite in the NFC West. Nothing's changed other than they went through some hiccups. Jimmy G, I saw a stat the other day. He's like top 5 in completions, like downfield in terms of like the big play. So they go for it with Jimmy's putting it all on the table. He's doing YOLO mode right now because he knows he's not going to be here next year. I respect that. So we'll see. I am actively rooting for the Cowboys because here's the problem. Cardinals lose. We'll talk about the Monday night game, and the Niners win. you got two teams in the NFC West in the divisional round, and neither is Arizona. And then Arizona just lost to Seattle to end the regular season. It would be DEFCON 5.
Back to where we were.
I don't want that to happen. Yep.
All right, next one.
All right, next one. Steelers at Chiefs.
Fuck, dude. All the tweets are so fucking true. That we have to see Ben Roethlisberger in the playoffs, and Steelers fans get so mad about it. Look, you can respect the guy if you want.
He deserves it. He deserves another playoff run.
He isn't. I mean, the only thing that won the Steelers the game against the Ravens was dump offs on 4th and 10 where Chase Claypool would back into the first down. I mean, he's not doing anything impressive, and I think they get killed in this game. What do you think?
Can they put together a historically great defensive performance with a defense, in my opinion, they've got multiple. I think they've got multiple trendy Hall of Famers, Minkah Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt. Yeah. Can those two play? I mean, you get a couple turnovers on Mahomes, and they can run the ball. It's kind of the mantra of what I think the Cardinals have Monday against the Rams. But I think Kansas City is favored. They should be favored by double digits. I don't.
Well, hold on. Let me go first.
Okay, you go ahead.
They have to be favored by double digits. I'm going to go.
You think
Chiefs
so?
minus?
Okay.
Yeah, Chiefs minus 10.5.
I have too much respect for Mike Tomlin. I think Vegas does too. I'll run it back and I'll say 8.5 minus Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were on the right track by saying double digits. It's Chiefs minus 12.5.
Wow. Did you see that Tomlin didn't even watch the end of the Chargers game because he fell asleep?
No, I didn't see that.
Isn't that amazing? He's like,
get that guy out of Pittsburgh.
I love Mike Tomlin.
The only thing I think of when I see his face is the bad lip reading from, I think, 2013, 2014, when he goes, ham bone. That's like one of the funniest things I've ever seen on the internet.
He doesn't age. He's had how many? I don't think he's ever had a losing season in Pittsburgh, and he's looked the same every year since he started there. That's pretty nuts. We're on the Cardinals game. That's the last game of the week.
That game's 4, right? I saw.
I smoked chain this week. Yeah, it's going back and forth 4.5. I'll say 4.5. But here's my thoughts on this game in case anybody was curious. Cardinals, I do not think are a good matchup for this Rams team. Everybody talking about, well, the Rams just lost. The Niners do everything well that the Cardinals do not. They dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They want to run the ball, right? They have a head coach really that was playing for nothing to lose. The Cardinals have so much pressure on them. Can't run the football. The other backs are hurt. Their defensive line is terrible. They're bringing back J.J. Watt. We haven't seen Watt in 2 months. The only way Cardinals win this game, you got to get YOLO. Here's the problem. The Cardinals had multiple turnovers forced against Seattle and converted them to touchdowns and still basically got blown out in that game. Yeah. So for everybody saying, well, you got to force Matthew Stafford into turnovers. Well, even if that happens, I don't trust a now fraudulent Cardinal defense that's given up on average 28 points in their last 5 games to slow down Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, Matthew Stafford. I'm swallowing 4.5 points and taking the LA Rams.
Can I tell the people what you texted me earlier this week?
It's 3.5, by the way. It's 3.5 right now.
Johnny texted me after the Cardinals lost and said, I'm going to throw $500 on the Rams. And I said, no, you're not.
Well,
so maybe
I have permission from my wife.
maybe with Johnny's awful cold streak he has going on, it'll help the Cardinals actually. So who knows?
I think I found out on the DraftKings Sportsbook app when they were at when they were at 4, it was 500 on the money, or not the money line, but the spread was going to pay out, I think, 250. So I'm like, I'm weighing that but now if it's 3.5, probably closer to 300. So we'll see. I don't know. I will happily trade $500 for a playoff win is what I'm telling everybody.
I know one of Johnny's New Year's resolutions was to get better at betting, but was one of your New Year's resolutions to look better and feel better in 2022? Forget the gym and your crazy diets that you think you're doing. How about some new gear to rep your teams instead? the PHNX Locker is here to help with all of our fun new designs that are dropping basically every month, sometimes twice, 3 times a month. We got stickers, packs, we got everything over at the PHNXLocker.com. Become part of the family at GoPHNX.com to get some exclusive members-only deals and content from guys like Johnny, guys like Gerald, Craig Morgan, Derek, Jesse, everybody, all the like. So don't forget to head over to GoPHNX.com. You can get your first membership or first month of the membership for just 50 cents. Or you can get an annual membership for under $60. You can also get a free t-shirt with that. Johnny, what you got coming up for the people at GoPHNX.com?
Tomorrow I got an article dropping at GoPHNX.com. Who's on the hot seat going into the Monday's matchup at LA? Cliff Kingsbury, Vance Joseph, maybe Kyler Murray, DJ Humphries, among others. Who needs to play well, maybe to save their job? I'll rank the hot seats as it relates to the Arizona Cardinals in a must-win game against Sean McVay and the LA Rams.
Love it. Well, we will be back here tomorrow, every day, Monday through Friday. I don't really know what we're going to talk about yet. It's kind of on a daily basis. We figure this out.
I don't like it.
Yeah, there's not enough football for Johnny to talk about.
I love it.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Shane Deef. You can follow Johnny on Twitter at Johnny Venerable. You can follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_bets. If you're listening on audio, leave that 5-star review. Say something nice about Johnny's cold streak and that he's going to get hot soon. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't. Turn on those notifications. And we will see you back here tomorrow at noon. Peace.
Bye.